This is Shooter Shy Lynn, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is the walking weapon, Josh Alexander, current, reigning, defending Impact World Champion, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Yo, this is Hoodie Howlett, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is Dr. Ison, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Hey everybody, this is Billy McNeil, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is one half of the beautiful people and 7-time women's world champion Angelina Love. And aren't you lucky? You are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Hey, I'm Marcus Buff Bagwell, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag, baby. Check it out, and remember, no matter what, I'm Buff, and I steal the stuff. Ha 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 ha! And now, CR Media presents the I-70 Hot Tag with your host, Chaos Chase, and the real Josh Elliott.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the I-70 Hot Tag 2023 year-end recap video. It is hard to believe that this year is already coming to an end. We had a lot of great moments and a lot of great memories to reflect on in 2023. Like that opening video said, you know, we had 80 live streams this year. 80 times we went live. Whether it be the I-70 Hot Tag or our sister show, The Pit Stop, which ran for most of the year on Monday nights. Not only that, guys, we had 46 interviews where we talk to all the wrestling personalities, whether it be in-ring performers, referees, bookers and promoters, all that good stuff. We had 46 interviews. We also had 8 sponsorships. We continued our support and our partnership with Central Stage Wrestling. We also started sponsoring Heartland Championship Wrestling, Billy Simmons promotion, who broke off from XWE. Speaking of XWE, we also sponsored here New Year's Beatdown, and also another one in the spring, a couple XWE episodes. And for the first time ever, we were a sponsor of St. Louis Anarchy, and we sponsored Circus Maximus. So Chase and I were fortunate enough to go to that event. We saw Jeremy Wyatt versus Derek Neal for the Gateway Heritage title. It was absolutely phenomenal. But this episode obviously is pre-recorded. This is not a live stream, but we wanted to kind of reflect on the year that was 2023. And I would be remiss to not start with the great start that the I-70 Hot Tag had. Our first interview was with Johnny Faith. Now, that was a pit stop episode on January 2nd, right after the new year. But our first interview on the I-70 Hot Tag, our Thursday flagship show, was a mainstream guest, our first of 2 for the 2023 season. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a few clips and start off at the beginning of the year. And I'm going to chime in here every so often. And hope you guys enjoy this. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in and watching any of our content, whether it was earlier this year, last year, or you continue to support us. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We love independent wrestling. We love professional wrestling. And I've said it many, many times, I think we are living in one of the best independent scenes in the country. We have such great talent here in Kansas and Missouri, and we cannot wait to continue to cover this. So like I said, guys, we're going to start off with a clip of Johnny Faith and move into our first mainstream guest of 2023.
Matter of fact, I live in Georgia. Believe it or not, I live in Georgia, so I drive to Kansas every month for XWE shows. Just so y'all know.
Did not know that.
It's a great weekend. I can't never put that down. The way XWE has treated me has brought me up. That trip is worth every mile in it, and it's almost a 5,000 mile round trip.
Yeah,
and
that's nuts.
It is worth every mile. And I do it every month because I love that company and they help build me. They help make me Johnny Faith so I can do no wrong but give back and drive out there.
Like I said, the whole point of this show is to give fans an opportunity to learn more about you. And dude, let me tell you something. If I'm a promoter, I'm definitely calling a guy who's fucking driving 5,000 or 2,000 miles or whatever it is round trip to come wrestle. In a heartbeat, I'd do that. So,
yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, guys, you saw that right. Angelina Love, who is going to be at Glory Pro this weekend in St. Louis at that event. she's going to come on Thursday and she's going to sit down and have an interview with Josh and I. And we're going to talk about, we're going to ask her some questions. So, of course, as usual, per what the I-70 hot tag is and what the I-70 hot tag does, we want you guys here so you guys can ask questions in the chat as well. And we're going to get your questions answered. So we are very, very excited to have her on. Like I said, cannot be thankful enough that she's willing to take the opportunity to come on and let us interview her.
So we started off the year with Angelina Love. What a way to kickstart 2023. Angelina was a great interview. You guys can check that out on our YouTube page or our Facebook page. She lives in the St. Louis area, or she did at the time of the interview. She wrestled at Glory Pro early in January, just a week after that, I believe, or that weekend. So wanted to move on because our next interview, this is kind of unfortunate news that happened earlier this year. Most of you probably are already aware, and you can probably see the QR code at the top corner of this video. So back in June, for those of you who don't follow Kansas City Extreme Wrestling or Cape Championship Wrestling, or really our area in general, there's a wrestler known as Alan Jones. And Alan was on his way home from Chicago, was asleep in the car, and that car ended up getting into a vehicular accident, and AJ was injured very badly in that accident. This happened back in the summer, in June of this year. As it sits right now, AJ is making a recovery. The last post on the GoFundMe and this QR code will take you to the GoFundMe to help support AJ in his recovery. AJ is home, still faces a lot of physical therapy and rehabilitation. We have seen him, like and share some things on social media, so he's active there. So very bad, but it is very good news that he is making a recovery. He's home and appears to be doing well. But we also had Alan Jones on the show in January. He was one of our first interviews of the year. So here's a clip of him and a few other clips, but here's a clip of Alan Jones talking about his aspirations in professional wrestling here in the Kansas and Missouri area. So I wanted to ask you kind of what are your goals that you hope to accomplish here in the independent scene in the Kansas and Missouri area?
That's a good question, Josh. I think the main thing, I wouldn't lie and say like I wouldn't dream of having like the Metro Championship or the K6W Championship, or even in Cape with their pure championship. I love just like pure technical wrestling. I'm a huge Bret Hart mark, so anything that's technical wrestling, like old Ring of Honor stuff, I'm obviously gonna fall in love with that. But I think really my focus is to help elevate my craft. I want to elevate others on the way. So there's a lot of guys that I love working with in the towns in KC and Cape and Eldon and all the New Breed and CCW events. Like their rosters are so stacked, and at this point I just want to get in there and just work with everyone and just have good matches with them. And if that gives me an opportunity at some point doing something bigger, whether that be a Metro Championship, K6W Championship, all that comes in due time. But right now, just working with all the great gals and ladies we have, and just having banger after banger and just making my name to where everyone's like, man, every time this guy's on my screen, he has a match. Like, it's always going to be something special. And I think that's what I really want to focus on, just having a good match.
For good time stakes,
That's what I'm talking about, Chase. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see, Josh.
Tobias!
That was probably his best one, though.
I'll give you that. I
got 3 kids under 4 years old upstairs asleep, so I probably just woke all 3 of them up.
Yeah, Josh's about to get his ass whipped by his wife.
My wife's like, what the fuck is he yelling, guys?
This is the one, the only, Tobias Storm. And you're watching I-70 Hot Tag.
Strider's one of those guys that tried for years again with Harley, and the timing was just never right. Harley wasn't looking for guys to bring in. He has a group of guys he was using. He was bringing in guys from the school that he was using. But eventually Strider got in and started working some dates for Harley. And I remember vividly, I don't know if we were at the show or driving to the show, but I remember being with Strider. He's like, son of a bitch, we're wrestling for Harley fucking race. he was just such a fan, you know. Good dude. I love Strider, man. A good dude, but he was just so pumped that he was actually wrestling for Harley Race, man.
I will never forget that Tobias Storm interview. Had us rolling the entire time. I was yelling Tobias the entire interview. Probably clearly woke up my family a couple times doing it as well. So that was super fun. Also, Superstar Steve was one of my favorites growing up. In the area, I saw him way back in 2006 at Harrisonville, and it was pretty cool to see him and talk to him about his upcoming ventures. But one of the single, not even one of the, it is the single greatest exits to an interview that we have ever had. And that was back when we interviewed Evangelistico. Take a look.
If you can watch it on IWTV, it might not be as good as being there live, but man, it's the next best thing.
Yep.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, I've got to jump off because I have to take a real big shit.
You're
I'm like, man, I hope we wrap up soon because I got to shit.
No, this is perfect.
Guys.
No, this is perfect. We're gonna close out. Appreciate you.
See you, buddy.
We're all gonna shit together. See you guys.
See you, buddy. That's great.
That was worth it. That was worth him staying. For him to be like, I'm out. I'm gonna go take a shit.
Oh, that was great.
He's naturally gifted. But February 25th at the Lenexa National Guard Armory, I'm going to show him what it's like to feel small. I'm going to show him what it's like to feel weak. So Arjun Singh, I know you're watching. The next time you see me, I'm putting you to sleep. 3 in a row, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, it's the name's nothing crazy special. It has nothing to do with Pokemon, although I'm a Pokemon fan, like I'm a nerd, like all wrestlers are. But no, I was walking through like a I don't know if a Sports Authority back then, whenever that existed, or like Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that. But I found this shirt and it said "Lights Out" on it, and it was like this cool kind of like storm in the background with like a dark city, and I was like, that's kind of cool. So I went from Lights Out, got Surge from there. Now I got like tons of puns and things for everything. So, but that's the origin of where like Adrian's just a name. Like it was just like, your first name. Right. Spit out the first one right before my first match, and that's what it's been, and kind of stuck. So,
and we are rolling through February now. We're at February 16th. And we are just in the thick of Angel de Paz and Bruisador Valencia kind of picking on the podcast guys. So we decided to invite their manager of the Empire, Triple Dix himself, Dick Richards, to join the show. Brian J. Bebe and I interviewed him, and we asked him what he thought of Valencia Paz, and this was his answer. Very genuine, and absolutely love all those guys. Valencia doing great things in Kansas, has their own promotion now. Skill, go check them out. But this is Dick on Valencia Paz. Hey, say something good about them, but we know the talent that they have in the ring. We've seen it. They're hell of a tag team, great performers, and that is the last good thing I'm going to say about them. Kind of, in your words, kind of tell us how good of a team Valencia Paz has been for the Empire and XWE.
So my first XWE show, I came before I decided to get really involved. I watched them wrestle, and I've gone back and watched that match a few times. And the evolution they've gone through. I've been in training with both of them, and they have gotten better and better and better each month. Every show. And part of that is the work they put in. They're on the road all the time. You know, they work 3 or 4 shows a month, and usually they try to work a couple of times on the weekends that they go for shows. So it's the hard work that I see them put in, and it's paying off. You know, they're wrestling in Colorado. They've gone up to Indiana, I think, and wrestled, and just all over Kansas. And it's only a matter of time before they get even bigger. I know they've had a lot of success out in Rocky Mountain Pro, and just you can tell every time that they come back from a show, they're excited, they're hungry, they're ready for more. It's exciting to be a part of that and see them live out their dreams.
Goals. Let's see. I mean, at some point, I want to win some gold, but like, I'm not gonna say like out of respect. I'm not gonna say like gold doesn't matter, but like I'm just in it because I love it. But I know at some point, like but once I win, I might cry. I'll shed a tear a little bit, you know. But that's definitely one goal. I want to step in the ring with one legend at some point.
Is there a legend in mind that you would like to step in the ring with?
Oh, RVD.
Like yes, when you're in the business, wrestling is over everything. You sacrifice so much for you to get to the point where you like whatever your dream is in the business. If your dream is just to referee one match, you can sacrifice whatever it takes to, and you sacrifice whatever it is to get you to that point. So wrestling is over everything for that. For just example, like Roman Reigns is the biggest dog on the block. Everything that he had to sacrifice to get there. I get that, you know, there's a big machine behind him pushing, but he did sacrifice a lot, you know, like battle back from cancer so he could get back to his spot, you know, like he did sacrifice a lot. So when you're in it, it is wrestling over everything. You hear all those stories of all the old guys who never came home and their kids hate them and they're trying to rebuild relationships and your body's broke down because they didn't take care of themselves. Like wrestling is, when you're in it, like I said, it is more than anything else in the world.
But yeah, real quick, Instagram is Grandel Wrestling, Facebook Grandel Wrestling, Twitter. Don't ask me why we had to do this, but it's Grandel Wrestle instead of wrestling. All of our ticket links are on those sites. Guys, thank you so much. This is by far my favorite interview I've ever done with anybody. So I had a great time.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
That
man.
means a lot. So
Thank you.
Anytime.
Now, one of the coolest things and the most fun things I get to do, haven't done it much as of late, but when we have a guest on the show, I go back and I take some clips of them wrestling throughout the years and make a little montage video hyping up their appearance on the I-70 hot tag. I've done it with probably 80 to 90% of our guests. But this one here was a fun one because I'm a huge fan of, you know, we've seen him come as, the Buns of Steel, Jay Fowler. He switched to the Bad Buns here in Kansas City in Journey Pro, and now he's absolutely tearing it up north in Iowa, Nebraska as All Steel Jay Fowler. But I put together a little video package. I've kind of changed the way I do things with those videos throughout the year. And I threw him off a little bit, and we'll watch the entire video of that, and then we'll see his reaction to that right as he comes on screen.
two choices tonight. Either I knock you out with my steel ass, or I break your damn ankle. Choice is yours. I'll see you out there. Keep it peachy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Good.
That was pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, man, Josh. I would love to take credit for that, sir, but Josh busts his ass every week to make those videos. So
Yeah,
all the
like,
credit goes to him.
you throwing the old stuff in there at the beginning really threw me off. I was like, whoa.
I know. I saw your face expression. So I was like, I was dying when I saw your facial expression.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yay high, yeah,
Yay high.
yeah. Yay high. Oh man, me and Yay High, we had a project together. We were doing like during the pandemic or whatnot, where we was doing like dojo wars and whatnot. Sadly, that's the only place you can see Mike Outlaw versus Yay High. If you look it up, it's on YouTube. But we have never crossed paths on an actual show with a paying crowd and a hot white, you know what I mean, with a hot crowd. Yeah. So I mean, anytime, yeah, I want to do it, I'll do it.
Fast forward, I run into some things I never thought I'd do. Coaching gymnastics for one, moving to Texas for a couple years, coming back and really realizing what I want to do in life. And it was really during the COVID pandemic where I said, if I don't do this now, if I don't come out here and try to live my dream, then when? Am I going to wait till I'm 30, 35 to come out and be like, I want to be a pro wrestler and have the knees of a 72-year-old, or, I already have the knees of a 56-year-old, if you didn't all know. So
one of the greatest voices in our area, whether that be on the microphone to promote his colleagues, his wrestlers, the guys that he manages, or if it's at the commentary booth for St. Louis Anarchy or Grandel Wrestling. We had Greg Jovi on the show, and he was the first guest that was a returning guest. We kind of took pride there that we had not had a returning guest, that we had a unique interview for, over a year, or right just before a year. And we could not be more excited that Greg Jovi agreed to come on the show again. Talked about all of his upcoming ventures with St. Louis Anarchy, and like I said, the greatest announcer, the greatest mic guy in our area, Greg Jovi. So let's take a look at the video promo that we watched for the pit stop that week.
April 20th. Here it is.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order. Buff the stuff and the girls just can't get enough. Buff Daddy.
So our 1 year anniversary episode was on April 20th, 2023. And we booked one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, Buff the Stuff Bagwell. I was in shock when he agreed to do it. He was very easy to communicate with and book onto the show. We were going to see him at SICW Fan Fest in St. Louis. We promoted all of his stuff, but speaking of stuff, I mean, you can see got his the show graphic with his autograph there, hanging up in the podcast room here. But what a cool experience! That was our second of our second mainstream guest of the year, and what a surprise it was. And great guy. He's he had life struggles. Obviously, everybody's read and heard what's been going on with Buff, but to him going through DDP yoga and kind of getting clean from drugs, pills, alcohol, all that good stuff, he's coming clean and getting clean. So one specific instance is I was talking to him about a promo. I couldn't even get the question out because one of my favorite promos of his that always resonates with me and always sticks with me when I think of Buff Bagwell was when he's in the ring and he's talking to Scott Steiner and they're kind of arguing back and forth. And Buff says, big man, you might be Big Papa Pump, but you're not Buff and you're not the stuff. I couldn't get to that part. As soon as I started describing him in the ring with Scott Steiner, he immediately knew what I was talking about. He knew the city, Cincinnati, Ohio. He knew exactly what they were said, and he said it was a 100% shoot interview. Let's take a listen. memorable promos throughout your career. Your sayings, your swagger that you came out to the ring and on the microphone. There was one specific one. It was right around the time you and Scott Steiner were starting to feud. You guys were in the ring. He was.
Well, let me stop you.
Yep.
If it was Cincinnati, Ohio, was it?
I don't know what city it was in.
If it's the one where Scotty goes, I don't give a damn about the crowd. If it's that one, it was 100% shoot interview.
Yep, that's the one.
Maybe you want to scam the crowd and look at the Buff Daddy signs. There's a lot of them. See, that's the difference. You care about the crowd. I don't give a damn about any of these fans.
100%. We had not talked in 2 weeks. We had not spoken 2 weeks on that interview. Scotty and me were genuinely mad to the point I didn't know if it could have gone to blows or not. I didn't want it to go to blows because Scotty was a super duper badass. But at the same time, I wasn't going to take it from him.
Since Buff Daddy has got back into shape, maybe Scotty is a little bit jealous. Just a little bit. Remember one thing, as good as you look, you will always be second best next to me. Scotty, this is getting a little bit out of the hand, but let's just be honest. You're Big Papa Pump, but you're not buff, and you're not the stuff.
If you remember out there when I went to turn from him and he pushed me back, I mean, anytime you want to know if I'm actually mad or not, look at my nostrils. And if they're flaring, I'm mad. In that match, in that ring, that night, I remember that was a 100% shoot interview.
This is getting a little out of hand. Let's just drop it, okay? Let's let it go. What do you say, Cincinnati? No, they patched that. No, they didn't. Gonna say they...
After Buff Bagwell, we did not slow down. We went right into interviewing the great talent in our area, and we went right to Dan the Dad, who is a owner of Glory Pro. He owns and operates Glory Pro. He's also an active wrestler. He wrestles for Glory Pro. He wrestles for WrestleMax, Central States Wrestling, a lot of promotions outside of our area. He travels all over the place. He was in Japan or about to go to Japan as we interviewed him. I think he was just getting ready to go. But here's a clip of him talking about how busy he is and also having a 9-to-5 job outside of wrestling.
One of the best parts about the show, we do it live, Dan.
is viewer questions. So one of the questions that came in says, between being a dad and competing in the ring, how the heck do you find time to rest? So
That's a great question, and I don't, because I also work a full-time job, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So wrestling, running a business, working, and still making time for friends and family it's extremely tough. And still getting to the gym and still taking care of myself that way. So it's I will say that I don't get as much rest as I used to, but I'm pretty busy. But I like to be busy. I like to think of at this point, if I'm not busy or if I'm not doing something active, then I don't know what to do with myself. So not a big rest guy. Maybe once in a while if I've got a weekend off or something, that's nice to recharge. But mostly, I mean, even just coming up, Saturday I'm at Black Label Pro in Chicago. Then I got to come all the way back, run Glory at the pageant on Sunday, and then on Monday I head out to LA and then out to Tokyo. So it's going to be a busy next few days for me for sure, but I like it that way.
Hey, if you don't mind me asking real quick, how does your 9 to 5 deal with that? Like, are they cool with you taking time off to go to LA and Tokyo?
It always works out. It's I think people thankfully are very supportive, especially when you're able to come bring some cool stories back for around the water cooler on Monday morning. It's always I've never had a problem with it personally. Maybe use a few extra vacation days here and there for when I need to, but you make it work. And if I had a job where it didn't work, then I just find a new job, because wrestling is just that important to me. I would never give it up for anything, and there's always a way to make all that work. It just kind of takes work and maybe not much rest, but it's fun.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am the Heartbreak Core, Shazza McKenzie. And for those unfamiliar with who I am an internationally renowned professional wrestler.
I thought you were going to play the whole thing. And I was like, don't make me watch an entire promo.
No. That's why I was laughing. I was like, I saw you put your shirt over your head. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what is wrong?
I was like, I do not want to watch my own promo ever. That is horrifying. Oh, I was scared that we were going to do the whole minute. I was not mentally prepared for that.
That is awesome. So on Monday we watched we have a concept where we watch a match to kind of get prepared for these interviews. We watched your match at Powerhouse with Johnny Glory, John Hennigan. John Hennigan was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I watched him in Tough Enough both seasons. The season he got eliminated and the season he won with Matt Capitelli. I noticed since you originally split from Technical Difficulties and went to that Sway Licious character, I noticed a lot of similarities between you and John Hennigan. Is that on purpose?
Honestly, man, what you see in the ring, that's me 100%. Like, there's no costume, there's no makeup, man. That's 100% me out there. So it's just ironic that me and him have similarities. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Growing up, I'm still am a big fan of his work, especially the Johnny Nacho gimmick.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just so happens to play out, man. Like, I'm a very flashy, over the top person, so that's why you see the velvet tights, you see the fur boots. I mean, how many wrestlers do you see on the indies that wear fur boots? I'll answer that question. None. I'm the only one, baby. I'm the only one. So, man. Well, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Wrestling John, man, that was one of my dream matches, and to go in the ring with him and to show him what I am able to do and to leave a good impression on him, man.
Yeah, that's one Chase and I both wish we were there live to watch. So, I was going to ask you to kind of, if you would, kind of peel back the curtain just a little bit. Tell us what the day in the life of a referee consists of. Is it, are you going to the event, going to the venue, kind of knowing the matches you're going to call? Is that something you guys decide when you get there? Or just kind of tell us what your perspective is from a referee from an event standpoint.
It's kind of 50-50. Sometimes you get down the line where you could, call matches and, get the card the night before, and that's great when you could predict, and forecast what you think you're going to be doing until, you get what actually happens in the ring. So I love that aspect. We try to really divvy it up. If there's somebody that we really wanted to work with, we'll try to make it, call dibs, everybody gets their one. And it's a pretty good rotation. But other than that, most of the time, I would say it's on the fly. You get your assignments the day of.
You just had a little one, didn't you?
Yeah, he just turned 3 months about a week or two ago. So he's getting a lot of personality, man. He's starting to move, and the expressions are priceless, man. Being a parent, people aren't lying when they tell you it's the greatest gift in the world, man. There's nothing.
Is that your first? If you don't want
to first, yes.
Okay.
It is our first.
Yeah. Josh and I both have 3. Josh's are all under the age of 4 or 5.
Oh,
yeah,
my.
5. Yeah, I got twin boys. Their birthday is next month.
Oh, nice.
And then I got a 15-month-old. So all boys.
Cool. So, congrats. Yeah, that's still semi-new. Yeah, congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then all mine are older. My youngest is 11. I got 11, 12, and 18. So
going into parenthood, I thought that I was going to want to fast forward to that part of my life to where I could really, spend time with my children. But dude, I'm really learning to soak in that these are the quote unquote good old days, and enjoy every single day and every single moment of it, man. It's all so precious, and God bless all you guys and all your children, man. It's a blessing, and it's good stuff, man. Good luck with everything.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate that. And
the Springfield show. If you look it up, the poster, it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's that blue and chrome. It's got the mid states down the sides. I see it. I won't touch a belt. I've got a phobia. I'm a football guy. I'm a phobia. They like, hey, look at this, and I'm like, I ain't touching it. I'm gonna earn that before I touch anything. I just gotta, superstition about stuff like that. That new breed title, that new breed title is beautiful. Have you guys seen that one?
The new breed?
Yeah.
Yes, I sat right next to it at the Sedalia show, and I was telling Chase, I go, dude, this title looks phenomenal.
It's a good looking belt, man. That big crown on the top of it.
Yep.
I think the biggest reaction that we got from that match was the choke slam. Honestly, I think someone said that they heard that in the back, and they're like, "What was that?" They're like, "Oh, Scott Tyler just died in the middle of the ring."
Yep.
That was the plan. I tried to, and then I gave him some CPR to revive him, and I shouldn't have done that because he came back and he kept targeting my head and my neck, and he ultimately got the win. So that was my mistake. I won't bring him back to life next time.
For those of you who don't know, the I-70 hot tag is very structured when it comes to the layout of the show, the interview, what we talk about after the break. It's a very structured show to kind of keep us on pace and try to not let us go extremely long. If you watch some of our earlier episodes, when we first started, episodes would go 2, sometimes almost 3 hours. So the structure kind of helps us keep on track. But some of the best content that we've seen on the I-70 hot tag is when we go off script, when we don't talk about things that aren't on the rundown, so to speak. And this is a clip that is up there with the humor that we saw in the Evangelistico clip earlier. It is when we talked to Gil Rogers and we asked him about being the referee of the 60-minute Ironman match for CSW. Take a look.
Yep. Are you going to be wrestling?
Yes.
Fantastic. Nice. I was going to say if they ain't got a match for you, I think you being a special referee for the Ironman match would be.
No, I don't want to stand out in the ring for 60 minutes. No.
My man.
That's too hot.
Heard that. Wish I didn't hear that.
I I want my 10 to 12 minutes and hit the showers and go to the merch stand.
Yes, there you go.
Mid-States is home to me. Like, that's where I'm going to go. If Jason needs me, Jason's got me. And I will be there every week that I can be, as long as I can go. Been going down there. That was actually where I had my first match. It's been July 23rd. It'll be my 1-year anniversary of matches. And really, it's week in and week out. Typically, one of the first ones there, so I can help set up, or if he wants to cut promos with Dennis, we get those in beforehand. We always tear down and just hang out. It's always a fun time at Mid-States, and it's a real honor to get this opportunity and then to actually have the trust in Jason to be able to carry this championship.
Calvin, on Monday we watched your match from Destiny back in October where you won the Kansas City Championship, man. Talk to us about that moment, what that meant for you.
Man, that meant the world to me. Like, it didn't even hit until the next day of what I actually accomplished. Because I felt like, even though that technically was my second championship since I won the Metro title a few years ago, that one felt like my first real one because, the Metro title, I had help from JC Thunder. He threw me on top of Leo D. And then I didn't even get a chance to defend the title because I had to relinquish it due to my dislocated shoulder. So that moment there, it meant the world to me. It made me feel like everything that I had done up to that point mattered and meant something, and I was headed in the right direction. And I still feel that way. And I don't know, man. It was such a great moment. And then everybody that was supporting me in that moment and everybody who was there for that moment, I really appreciated it.
Kind of walk us through your coming up with the character Hard Luck Hal. What, did you have any inspiration of how you got the Hard Luck name, or is there more behind that?
Oh yeah. Well, it's very factual based. Hard Luck, I heard it in a title of a movie, and I heard it in a name of a Kiss song, and I was just like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I kind of looked it up, and it pretty much means you don't have good luck, you don't have bad luck, you just have what you're given, and you make of it what you will. And that's kind of been my whole life. Like, nothing really seems to go my way, but I kind of just dip my head down and keep going and trudging along. So that's kind of always been Hard Luck, and I think my wrestling career has probably defined that. Most of my matches have probably been close losses, I'd call. But now that I got the Metro title, I think it's just turning around. With the Hal and the Rogers, don't like to use my real name, just like my privacy sometimes. So I took the name Hal from my favorite Green Lantern character, Hal Jordan.
Nice.
And took Rogers from my favorite Marvel character, Captain America, Captain Steve Rogers. So Hal Rogers.
We like to do a lot of things on the fly. We talk about, or we've done some of these interviews in character. If you recall back earlier this year, we did a replay of Luigi Primo's interview that we did back in June of 2022. And he did his completely in character. We've had a couple others that has done it. We had an interview scheduled with Oklahoma wrestler Red James. And Red is doing phenomenal things. He's at one point in time, about a month or two ago, he had 3 championship belts. He wrestles in Oklahoma. He wrestles in Texas. He wrestles in Kansas, all over the place. And only been doing this for less than 2 years. So doing great things. But we all know who Red James is. We know how loud Red James is. And we were fully expecting an in-character interview from Red James. And he started it off in character, and we thought that's how it was going to go. But he was asked a question that kind of got him to flip the switch. And then we went to, as we do with most of the other interviews we have on here, it was more of a just sit back, relax, add a character interview about the business. And so Red James was humbled in this moment, asking one of the viewers asked a question to him. So let's listen to that one.
He wanted to know what makes Red James stand out from everyone else.
I honestly don't know, man. I'm amazed that I'm able to even get in the ring. I'm amazed that these people want me in their arena. So I really don't know. Like, I've only been doing this a year and a month. It's I like getting hit. I like seeing how far my body can go. I mean, I got everything going for me. I'm not good looking. I'm not athletic, and I'm old as shit. So it's just amazing that people will pay me what little money they do to get in the ring and try to entertain. So I'm so early on, and I just don't know. I don't know why people want to see me. I don't know why people. For how like I don't get it. I don't. So.
That the hunt is on, but what happens when the hunted becomes the prey?
This is Dick Richards and
Ray Leon, and we are the illustrious Dicks.
And you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Boom!
What's up, everybody? This is Too Good, Mason St. Goods. Ain't nobody better. I'm so good that my name answers every question in the world. This is Too Good, Mason St. Goods, and you're watching I-70 Hot Tag.
There's a lot of places I'd like to get out. I don't know if you guys are going to ask that question, but I was trying to name drop some places that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Year, so.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah. First off, I hear there's a new promotion called Fountain City Pro starting up that I would really be interested in giving a shot at. Wink, wink. Again, there's Central States Wrestling seems like a great place to wrestle. I love to get there, especially teaming with Austin Reddick. I know he started to wrestle there. And I think there would be a lot of good matchups there. There's Core Professional Wrestling down in Oklahoma that I'd like to get there, and also would like to start teaming with Austin there. A lot of good teams there. Fresh teams that don't really come up this far north. And yeah, that's it for as far as promotions. Also,
so as you just heard from Tommy Too Good, we've had a couple hints, nods, nudges toward Fountain City Pro, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit at the end of the clips into the show tonight. But I wanted to lean into the next clip. We got the opportunity to talk to Brandon Beretta, one half of the Top Guns. He's got a bright future, and he's doing great things, both with the Top Guns and as a singles wrestler. We've seen him a couple times. Wrestles a lot in SICW, Herb Simmons' company. He also wrestles in New Breed and wrestles a lot in the St. Louis, Illinois area, Memphis wrestling. But we kind of talk about him, and we ask him about the rib. We didn't know it was a rib at the time, but Austin Muitalo, one of our favorites here in the area, he always jokes online to Brandon about how he called Brandon his Lord and Savior. So we asked Brandon about that, and he tells us about a rib from a mainstream wrestler.
And Austin has quite the high praise for you. He says that you are his Lord and Savior. Talk to us about your relationship with Austin.
All right, I got to give a little bit of context here between Austin and Jim. It was like it was right after I got the tag with Bob, actually. So I got the tag with my trainer, which was a phenomenal experience, super, super cool. It was like you just start hearing these little things like, oh, Brandon Beretta this, Brandon Beretta that. Thanks for the house, Brandon. Stuff like that. And so that's the whole kind of like rib there, right? It got to a point where we have Nick Aldis on the show. He is at a SICW house show. I go to introduce myself to Nick Aldis, and he goes, "Oh, no, I know who you are. Thank you for having me on the show." And I was like, automatically, I just go, I could feel my face get red, and I go, "Who told you this?" And he goes, "What are you talking about? I know exactly who you are. You're Brandon Beretta, the Top Gun." And I literally was just, I didn't even know what to say, and then he hits me with, "Hey, I know we're getting ready to do intermission, but my match is after. Can you watch my match? And if you have any pointers, just let me know." And if, like there's the whole thing in the back, right? You always go up to the legends, the veterans. You ask them to watch your match so you can get critiqued and get pointers, right?
And NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis is asking you for pointers.
So he goes out and he has this wonderful match with Attila Khan. I mean, just a brawl. Comes back, I see him come back through the locker room, goes in the little, side room off to the side. And I mean, not even 2 minutes. Like, I don't think he took a drink of water, tried to cool down or nothing. He came straight back out. "Where's Beretta?" And he goes, "Did you watch my match? Do you have any pointers?" And then I'm just like, oh my God, like you're really going with this. Like, I don't know what to say here. And worked me the entire night until he left. Like, it was, I was just going up, "Hey, Nick, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for, coming. We really appreciate it." And then it just, boom, just turned all the way around to where I'm just like red-faced the whole time.
Big Daddy's Donuts with 3 Kansas City metro locations. You can't buy happiness, but you can buy donuts, and that's kind of the same thing. I can't wait to sink my teeth into one. Big Daddy's equals donuts.
That was amazing. It was a great opportunity that kind of arose pretty quickly before the show happened. They kind of needed someone to fill in, and I was fortunate enough to be kind of suggested for that position, and it worked out. And Central States is a great promotion, and they put on fantastic shows with, you guys know, the best wrestlers around here. So it's always a promotion I've wanted to work for, and to get the chance to was really great. And Shaza was awesome to work with. Like, she's a veteran in the business, which is kind of rare to work with, and it's really nice to have someone who's just like I asked her, like, how many matches have you worked in your career? And she's like, well, I can't do an Australian accent, so I'm not even gonna try.
You don't need to.
I will just embarrass myself more than I already am. She's just like, well, Cage Match says I have about 500, and I was like, holy crap, that's wild. Because my last match this last Saturday was my 75th match that I've had, so Not too bad so far.
I wanted to ask you about your nickname. You're called the Prodigy Aaron Helms. I wanted to ask you kind of where you first came up with your character, the Prodigy.
So the Prodigy Aaron Helms was something where it came from the backyard days. It actually was a football thing with we had our whole defensive line had nicknames or whatever, and me and Remington Roar, we were on opposite ends of the defensive line, and we were we both had our little nicknames or whatever. At the time, he was called the Executioner, and I was the Prodigy, and I was a loudmouth, arrogant little SOB, and all my coaches knew it, and I was not afraid to talk smack. And if I wasn't getting a hit, Remington definitely was. We were kind of a tag team package there on both ends of the line, and we were there to hurt offensive players. And so it came from playing football at a younger age and just our love of pro wrestling, and then those developed into characters in the backyard days. And when I got back into doing it professionally, I was just saying, I said, look, there's a nickname I've always had. People know me by it in my hometown and, just around. So I'm just going to roll with it and go. And, I think that it's one of those things where, Prodigy means like a young, great talent. And I hope that when people watch my matches, that's what they think.
And I want you to tell us and our viewers, who is Big Country Matt Stockdale?
Well, everybody, they hear the name Big Country and they're like, oh, it's just a nickname. I've been called Big Country ever since I was a kid. I've always been that big, stocky kid. I grew up in the state of Arkansas, loved professional wrestling ever since I could remember. My dad was a huge fan. Throughout the 70s and 80s, he would catch shows in St. Joe and stuff when he was younger. And just, it always was around. I remember wrestling in the backyard with my friends, and we would take our allowance if we got one and go and buy the toy belts, and that would be our company belts. And I actually still have a couple of them that they're just in a box somewhere. But yeah, I mean, wrestling is in my DNA through and through. I mean, you guys can see behind me. I mean, I dedicated a whole room in my house. It's like my zen area, pretty much. I come in here and I cool off and I relax and I watch wrestling from all years.
So that was actually the first match that I have gained a victory over Stormy Renee. And she was my second ever live match. I faced her in a different triple threat at XWE. And she beat me. We've wrestled in Texas, couldn't beat her there. So we've had like an ongoing rivalry for about 3 years now. And this is finally got a one-up on her. And then I didn't get to go back to Heartland at their last show. But yeah, so hopefully I'll get to beat her in a singles match. So that would be nice.
Yeah. You mentioned Texas. Where how far down into Texas have you wrestled? Have you been to quite a few promotions down there? Or?
I did Advanced Pro Wrestling, which is near the Dallas area, and then I've done Top of Texas a few times.
There is a lot of great talent, great people, great athletes in this business, in this area, Kansas and Missouri, the Midwest, who really haven't had very many negative interactions with the people that have been on our show. Really nobody that we know of that we've had a negative impact on the show that we've had on as a guest. but one of our absolute favorites. Not only is he a great wrestler, he's been doing it for a long time. He is a veteran. He is a great human being. And hopefully at some point in time, we can say he's a good friend, because Hoodie Howlett not only is tearing it up in the wrestling scene as a performer, he's also helping run the Kansas City Wrestling Academy and training the up-and-coming wrestlers that are in the area. And he's doing great things. So Hoodie is someone that we hold close to us, just because he's a great guy, and he shows it here in the opening clip of his second appearance on the I-70 Hot Tag. He was, if you remember last year, he was the man that announced that the I-70 Hot Tag was the official sponsor of Horseman Country, CSW. So he made his return to the I-70 Hot Tag, and this is what he had to say as soon as he came on screen. Why not, guys? As Chase said, this is a returning guest. We had him back way back on episode 14. He was the man that announced that the I-70 Hot Tag was the official podcast sponsor of CSW Horseman Country back on August 27th, 2022. Since then, man, he's been all over the place. He's jumped off of balconies. He's up in Leavenworth, Kansas, in HCW now. We're going to see him in a couple days up there in Leavenworth. So please welcome our
Colorado.
guest. Colorado,
Colorado,
Rocky Mountain Pro, all over, man.
Last.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so guys, let's bring him on. Hoodie Howlett.
Fellas.
What's up, man?
What's up, boys?
Good. How you doing?
Let me say something. All right, I've been sitting backstage watching this show kick off, and I got to tell you, my boys are growing up. My boys are growing up. You guys got like a whole like fancy little package. You got this like techno music at the beginning. You got Angelina Love and Buff Bagwell intro in the show. Man, what the fuck is going on here? You guys coming to some money or what?
Yeah, I wish.
About time.
Love it. Love seeing it. How you guys doing?
This is Dr. Ison, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Hey, everybody, this is Billy McNeil, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag podcast.
So as we wind this thing down, I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but something on the show that we announced, we didn't even really announce it. It just kind of been nonchalantly brought up by guys like Tommy Too Good, just sporadically brought up in interviews and stuff like that, is that there's a new wrestling promotion coming to Kansas City called Fountain City Pro. And we've addressed this, that both Chase and I, with two other partners, are helping to bring you Fountain City Pro. Now, we made it a point, not purposely or otherwise, that we're not going to use the I-70 Hot Tag as a platform to promote Fountain City Pro. But nevertheless, we did end our final episode of 2023 by playing a promo video announcing that first event, which is happening on March 8th, called Light It Up.
So there that is. The first event, light it up. So
Light it up.
For every.
So that concludes the 2023 recap of the I-70 hot tag. Like I said at the beginning, guys, we greatly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in to watch us talk about independent wrestling in Kansas and Missouri. Thank you to all of our guests that have agreed to come on and, talk to us and help us put you over, promote what you've got going on. This is still crazy that, a year and a half ago, Chase and I were sitting at a DWF just as they were transitioning to CSW event and decided, hey, we're going to talk about independent wrestling in Kansas and Missouri because that's what we love. That's what we're passionate about. And here we are a year and a half later doing our second year-end recap and getting ready to come up on our 2-year anniversary. What you've probably noticed, we had a busy year. Like I said earlier and like the video said at the beginning, we went live 80 times this year. So not only were we doing the Thursday I-70 hot tag, but most of the year we were doing the pit stop, which is our Monday show that featured a match of our upcoming guest on Thursday. It was a huge hit. Our biggest YouTube views was a pit stop episode. You can go check that out on our YouTube page. But we've slowed that down, and here in the last couple months, we've transitioned to just doing our Thursday I-70 hot tag. And if you've noticed, over the course of November and December, we've went to a bi-weekly schedule. That's how we're going to proceed with the I-70 hot tag in 2024. We are not stopping the hot tag. We are going to continue to promote the great companies, the great talent, wrestlers, referees, owners, promoters, ring crew, anybody that's involved in the independent scene, and maybe even some fans at some point in time. We might bring on and interview them. We want to continue doing what we're doing, regardless of what goes on in the Kansas City scene in 2024 with Fountain City Pro. We want to help grow the business. That's all we've ever wanted to do, is help support and grow the business here in our area. So again, with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for tuning in and watching this year-end recap. Chase said it in our year-end video, and it was not. It rang true, and I kept hearing that in my head the entire year. Was 2022 was about learning. 2023 is about growing, and 2024 is going to be the exact same. I think we're going to continue to grow, continue to build on what we're doing here, and I hope you guys can join us for the ride. We will talk to you later. We hope you have a fantastic Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and until next year when we have Mindy Grace as our first interview of 2024 for the last time in 2023. Good fight and good night.
This is the American hero Johnny Faith, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
What's up, everybody? It is one half of the beautiful people and 7-time women's world champion Angelina Love. And aren't you lucky? You are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is yours truly, the straight edge prodigy, Alan Jones, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is the one, the only, Tobias Storm, and you're watching I-70 Hot Tag.
This is superstar Steve Fender, Midwest wrestler extraordinaire. If you want to see a hell of a podcast, tune in to the I-70 Hot Tag right here on Facebook.
This is Pistol Danger, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag. Hot tag that ass.
I am the giant killer, Scott Tyler, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is Lights Out, Adrian Surge, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast.
This is the KWA Women's Champion, Dick Richards, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag. But just remember, there's forever only the Empire.
Close the door! What's up, guys? It is your boy, the finest, Blair Dior, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag. If you don't subscribe, I will close the door on you.
Yo, this is the Buns, a.k.a. the Bad Buns, Hot Buns, the Hard Buns Kid. The list goes on and on. And I'm here on the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast. These guys are killer. Check the show out.
This is Mike Outlaw, real name, no gimmicks, and you're listening to the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is Chance Kerrigan, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag Team Podcast.
Hello, this is the master and ruler of the mustache, the world's strongest mustache, Rex Amadeus, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is Burr Candy, and you're watching I-70 Hot Tag.
We are Violencia y Paz, and welcome to the I-70 Hot Tag. Ba, ba, ba. And remember, it's only the Empire.
Hey everybody, this is the anti-Pope, Greg Jovi, the best professional wrestling manager in the entire world, the best color commentator in the entire world, and the best home decor of anybody that has done this. And you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Hey, I'm Marcus Buff Bagwell, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag, baby. Check it out, and remember, no matter what, I'm Buff, and I'm still the stuff. Ha, 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 ha.
This is Dan the Dad, your father's favorite wrestler, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast. And if you turn it off, you're going to be grounded.
Hey, this is Herb Simmons from SICW All-Star Wrestling, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Hi, this is Shaz McKenzie, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Yeah, it's your boy, the hot topic, the baddest mamma jamma, the whole thing, Raheem De La Suede, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast.
Alex Strahan, referee, and Midwest Zebra catching you outside the stripes, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is KLD Kevin Lee Davidson, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast.
This is Joe Helms, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
At the end of the day, when all the dust settles and the doctor's orders are in, only one thing is important, and that's that my name is the Dread Nurse Roberts, and you are listening to the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is Dick Richards and
Ray Leon, and we are the illustrious Dicks.
And you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Boom!
Hello, this is Gil Rogers, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast.
This is Burt Cameron, Gizmo Moore, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag. Let's sit with I-40.
Okay. You are now in the realest world with the realest Calvin Aldridge, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is your Metro champion, Hardluck Hal Rogers, and congratulations, you found the I-70 Hot Tag Podcast.
Let me get down here by the Buffalo Dick.
This is the foreman, Red James, and I always get the job done. And you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is Billy Simmons with Heartland Championship Wrestling, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is me, T2G, Tommy Too Good, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
This is the Top Gun Brandon Beretta, and I'm here on the I-70 Hot Tag podcast, the best podcast in the Midwest wrestling scene. You make sure you tune in every Thursday night, 8:30 sharp, to see faces like me, faces like Joe Vanetti in the future, and any of the top talent coming out of the Midwest.
This is Kelsey Magnolia, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag. Kanpai.
G. Aaron Helms, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
It's Big Country Matt Stockdale, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Yo, this is Hoodie Howlett, and you are watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Love it. Love it. Appreciate it, sir.
The Hot Tag. And just like those guys and the Iceman, we are too hot to touch and too cool to fool.
This is Dr. Ison, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag.
Hey, everybody, this is Billy McNeil, and you're watching the I-70 Hot Tag podcast.